Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So definitely had to cover this story. I came across this report a couple of days ago. It wasn't but a few hours after I became aware of the story that I think one of my subscribers sent me this story, and he says, "I know you got to do something about this story." And a lot of times I'm glad that my subscribers, they really do have a good discussion going on in the comment section. I appreciate them. Um, because we follow the same news, so I knew somebody was going to bring this up eventually. I mean, I had saw the story. I don't know. I think it happened on Saturday. And like I said, it wasn't but a couple of hours later after that one of my subscribers said I needed to cover this. So I'm gonna definitely talk about this because it falls in line with everything that I talk about. Um, Elderly white man stabs black delivery man in southern Brazil. Cops violently subdue the black man and take him to jail. Now, what's crazy about this is just a couple of days ago, I just did a video where I was talking about Black Brazilians have been talking about white privilege for some years. And so I think the last video that I actually posted was, talking about this white guy who just remembered how he got his position. I guess he's a professor somewhere. And he talked about how it came down to him and another candidate. And the other candidate, his resume was much better than his. He knew it. He knew the guy because they had went to the same university. I mean, the guy had like advanced degrees. And he said that, because he knows how the institution works, how the particular school he was trying to get a job at, he knows how they get down. So it was like his resume was way better than mine, but there was one difference. He was black, but I was white and I have green eyes. There's no way they're going to hire that guy when I'm available. So even the black guy having a much better resume than this guy, he saw that the guy was passed over, and he got the job probably because of what they call white privilege. Now we see this type of thing function in Brazilian society all the time. It's most people don't want to admit it, but it's just a question. I mean, I've already seen that. This guy was much more qualified than another guy, but because he was black, the white guy said, "Look, I know the place where I was applying. I know their infrastructure. I know all of the people who work there. The administration. He knew the people who ran the school, and he knew that they were not going to hire a black guy for that position." So then in Brazil, it's always a thing where the black person is always going to be left behind, or they're always going to be seen as the suspect. So this is the case that's going on here today. Let me talk about this story, and then I'm going to drop a couple of other stories just to give you some context as if you need it more. If you follow this channel long enough, you know how it works in Brazil. But anyway, before I get into the video, please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. So let's get right into this video. So this is a video. This is the photo of what happened in Porto Alegre. Porto Alegre is, the capital city of Rio Grande do Sul. It's one of the three southern states in Brazil, where 80% of the population of those three states consider themselves to be white. So let's talk about this. Again, this comes down to the stereotype that every black man is automatically a suspect. Police come running onto an event, and it's always going to be automatically assumed that it's between a black person and a white person, particularly a black male. It's going to be the black male who's going to be seen as the suspect, suspicious, or the criminal element. Again, I've talked about white privilege. There's examples of what they say is white privilege in Brazil. Again, 3,700 articles at blackbraziltoday.com. Just check them out. And once again, the actions of the police in this particular case, it shows that there is a racial hierarchy in Brazil. It's always been there. I mean, what's the point in denying it? We don't have to say that every single white person is racist. That's not what I'm saying. But even white people acknowledge that there is a racial hierarchy in Brazil. You have those who can admit it. There are some people who will go to their grave denying that this exists in Brazil. So Who is the black man arrested by Rio Grande do Sul police after being stabbed by a white elderly man? The story is by Julio Cesar Silva. So this past Saturday, the 17th, a black man was arrested by the Military Brigade of Porto Alegre after suffering an attempted murder by an elderly white man in Rio Branco, a noble or upper crust neighborhood in the capital of Rio Grande do Sul. Okay, police subduing the black guy. The victim was a 40-year-old motorcycle carrier, Everton Henrique Goandete da Silva. He was stabbed with a knife by the elderly man who constantly complained about the crowds of motoboys on the street. Now, motoboys are just, they're people who make deliveries all over Brazil on a motorcycle. You know, it could be food, it could be something, some office supply or whatever, but they're called motoboys, right? I mean, obviously because they ride around on motorcycles. When the officers arrived, the motoboy argued with the police and was handcuffed by the brigade. Everton recounted the racism and said that the commotion began when a group of motorcycle couriers were gathered at a bank on Rua Miguel Tostes, where the attacker lived, awaiting for delivery request. More pictures of the police subduing the motorboy. Then a man who lives on the street came and complained he doesn't like the volume of motorboys concentrated in front of his building, and he tried to kill me. He stabbed me. We called the police and the police officer was ignorant. I got a bit excited too. I ended up being arrested, but I've since been released, he said. I like this comic right here. If you take a look at right here, it's almost like, okay, the police want to know what happened on the scene, and they look at this little piece right here, which comes out of here without looking at the whole incident. Whoever did that was a pretty clever cartoon right there. The delivery man and his attacker were taken to the second police station. Both were held in separate cells, underwent forensic medical examinations to assess injuries. They gave their testimonies and they were released. Reservists from the armed forces who dealt with the situation, who chose not to identify themselves, characterized the incident as a physical confrontation, while the military police wanted to add contempt of authority to it. Both offenses are considered minor and do not result in detention. So what I'm getting from here, the white guy actually stabbed the black motorboy. And because the black guy was pleading his case with the police, they took that as contempt. You see them throwing him up against the wall and taking him down to jail. On social media, the episode generated outrage and was classified as racism due to the aggressive behavior of the military officers toward the motorcycle carrier, to the detriment of the passive posture offered to the elderly white man, who was even accompanied by officers to his apartment so he could put on a shirt before being sent to the police station. Check that out. The guy actually stabbed the other guy. You see, they violently get the black guy into the police truck. They actually go up to the apartment with the white man so he can put on a shirt. And then they escort him to police. Do you see the difference in how these two people are treated? Eduardo Leite, who is the governor of Rio Grande do Sul, used his social networks to comment on the episode. On his X or Twitter profile, he said that the police's violence toward the victim was absurd. He went on to say that the Military Brigade's Internal Affairs Department had opened an inquiry to hear witnesses and to investigate the circumstances of the incident. Several people talked about this on Twitter. This guy right here, Jules, I guess that's what he calls himself. He says, I just witnessed an attempted murder in the Rio Branco neighborhood, and the victim, a black man, was taken into custody. The mobilization of the population, the aggressor, a white man, was taken away. The violence of the police towards the victim was absurd. So this is somebody who witnessed it. He was there. Here's another person who tweeted about it. Absurd. A black man was attacked with a knife by a white man in the Rio Branco neighborhood in POA, which is Porto Alegre, and the military brigade handcuffed and treated the victim with violence. The perpetrator of the attempted murder was only taken away to the police station because of the people who witnessed the case. So shortly after, there was a protest in the streets. Like, what are you guys doing? The black man was actually stabbed with a knife by the elderly white guy, and you come throw the black guy up against the wall, take him to jail, and then you subtly let the white guy go up to the apartment. You accompany him to watch him put his shirt on, and then you take him to the police. Like, what do you call this? Is this not privilege? I mean, how many more examples do we need? Like I said, go to the blog. You'll see plenty of episodes, things like this. How depending on what the person looks like, that's gonna really tell you how they're gonna be treated. An old saying in Brazil says, "A white man running is a thief. A white man running is an athlete. A black man running is a thief." So, this is what I talked about in the previous video, talking about white privilege. These are all people. This woman was I think she's a thief. She was a drug dealer, drug trafficker. This woman was a crackhead on the street. She was a model turned crackhead, and then they found her in the streets, cleaned her off, and put her back on TV and interviewed her. This guy was a beggar, addicted to. He was a crackhead on the streets. People thought he was too handsome to be. He's a white guy. He's too handsome. He can't be on the street. They dusted him off. Next thing you know, he became the hot beggar on the internet. So you see this all the time. They could pass by thousands of, black crackheads in the streets. They'll walk right past them to get to that white person who is considered too beautiful, too handsome, too nice to be down here, in this position in life, right? See this all the time. What does the media have to do with this? This is from a television series, Black Bandits: How Brazil's Media Continues to Perpetuate the Racist Image of Black Criminals. This is another article from 2021. What profile do I fit? Racial profiling. Why are black men in vehicles suspicious? Okay. This is another article. I mean, these are just a few. As I said, it's thousands to choose from. Bike stolen in upper crust neighborhood in Rio. Who is the teacher and who is the criminal? This case speaks volumes about racial stereotypes in Brazil. So this guy was actually accused of stealing his own bike in a ritzy Rio de Janeiro neighborhood. When they looked into it, they found out that this guy was going around doing little petty crimes, in the same neighborhood, but arrest the black guy, you automatically assume he's the criminal element. But this is the guy that's getting away with all these petty crimes. So this is what I'm saying about how racial stereotypes work in Brazil. This was the article that I did, a video I did a couple of days ago. The article's from 2015, Recognizing White Privilege. His resume was much better than mine, but he was black and I have white skin and green eyes. I mean, what can be said here? I'm just curious for people who saw this particular story. What is another way that you could see this particular incident? I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Drop a comment in the comment section. I know people probably get tired of hearing this type of news from Brazil, but it is what it is. I wouldn't, if this stuff didn't exist, I wouldn't report on it, right? Anyway, drop a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this particular incident. This is the guy who stabbed this guy, okay? Remember what the story said. The police walked him up to his apartment so he could put on a shirt and they could go down to the police station and, resolve this issue while they threw the black guy up against a wall, handcuffed him and then threw him in the truck, police truck. Drop a comment. Definitely subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, click on that notification bell because I will be putting up new videos in the future. With that said, I'm going to end this video here and request that you all come back and check out the next video that I post.